program that performs a particular task. So those set of programs which is associated with the operation of a computer system is called a software. So next, I'll be talking about the overview of software development lifecycle and the overview of software testing lifecycle, and how API testing is done, Jira software, and test document. So first is software development lifecycle. It is like a structured process that is used to design, develop, and test good quality software. So it is like a methodology that defines the entire procedure of software development step by step. So the main goal of this lifecycle model is to deliver a high quality, maintainable software that meets the user requirements. So this is the software development lifecycle, where we have different phases like requirement analysis, design, implementation and coding, testing, deployment, and maintenance. So first, in requirement analysis, this phase is like a critical phase where the information gathered will be converted into clear requirements for the development team in the document format, such as software requirement specification document or use case document. And in design phase, a prototype model will be developed. So it gives like a pre-production version of the product. So it gives the team an opportunity to visualize what the product will look like and make changes without rewriting the code. Next is implementation and coding. In this phase, the development team divides the project into several software modules and then code them to make one single product. Next would be integration and testing. So in this, the software modules will be integrated and as one product, and it will be tested as one single product. So in this phase, we perform different testing types like performance testing, functional testing, unit testing, acceptance testing, etc. So next is installation and deployment. In this phase, the final product will be delivered to the end user. And maintenance, in this phase, the end users, if they, for smooth process of the software, if there are some minor bugs which were missed, so those bugs will be fixed for better user experience. So next we have software development lifecycle models, which is waterfall model, V model, spiral model, and agile model. So first, waterfall model is like a sequential design process in which the process flows downward through different phases, with each phase depending on the outcome of the previous one. So first, requirement analysis is done, and then the design is done, and then coding, testing. It comes in the order. Next is V model. It executes based on testing phase for each of the corresponding development stage. So here the development and testing is done simultaneously. And in spiral model, it starts with small set of instructions and goes through each development phase for those set of requirements. In agile model, here agile model arranges the SDLC phases into several development cycles, which we called as sprint, with the team delivers small incremental software changes in each sprint. So it focuses on process adaptability and customer satisfaction by rapid delivery of working software product. So it has like this continuous interaction of development and testing during the process of the software development. So most companies use this agile model to build the software products in the company. So next is software testing. So software testing involves like executing a program to identify any bugs or error in the software product's code. So this process takes into account all the aspects of software, which includes its reliability, scalability, portability, usability, and reusability. So the main goal of this software testing is to ensure that the process of verifying and validating whether a software is bug free, meets the technical requirements as guided by its design and development, and meets the user requirements effectively and efficiently by handling all the exceptional cases. So why should this software be tested? So software is tested to see whether it meets the customer's needs. So before releasing a software product, it has to go through a proper process of development, testing, and bug fixing. So software is considered as a good quality if it meets the user requirements. So quality in the sense, it's like a degree of excellence. So like in customers' idea of quality, it should be like the good performance on the configuration, good specifications, and completely meet the operational requirements. Next, we have the types of software testing, manual testing and automation testing. So in manual testing, the testers evaluate software quality manually, like without the help of any automated testing tools or by executing test scripts. So it does not need any coding. We manually write the test cases. In automation testing, it uses some software tools, example Selenium, and the scripts to automate the execution of the test. So it involves creating scripts or test cases that can be run automatically rather than requiring manual effort. So it aims to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of testing. So there are certain types for these manual and automation testing, which is black box testing. It is done by writing test cases from a source document, like software specification document. And white box testing is like the tester already have some knowledge about the backend program and the language of the software. And gray box testing, it's like a combination of white box and black box testing. So it has a partial knowledge of backend. Also, they write the test cases for testing. And we have in functional testing, we have unit testing, integration testing, and system testing, where unit testing test individual units or components of the software. So this units or components will be interacted with each other, and it will be tested together. And in system testing, it tests a fully integrated software. So it validates the accuracy of the application and the performance of the functions. So here the software is developed in units and interacts with other software and hardware to create a complete computer system. And we have performance testing, where it checks the software speed and scalability under different conditions, like load, stress, scalability, and its stability. And in usability testing, it evaluates software's user interface and the overall user experience. And compatibility testing, it will examine and compare functionalities over multiple browsers, devices, and OS. Like it verifies that your product works efficiently in your intended environment. So next is software testing life cycle. It is like a sequence of specific activities conducted during the testing process to ensure that the software quality goals are met. So this is the life cycle, which has requirement analysis, test planning, test design, environment setup, test execution, test closure. So requirement analysis, here the testing team studies the requirements from the testing point of view to identify testable requirements. And the QA team may interact with various stakeholders to understand requirements in detail. So the team identifies the types of tests to be performed, and it gathers details about testing priorities, and they identify test environment details where the testing is supposed to be carried out. And in test planning, they determine the test plan strategy along with efforts and cost estimates for the project. So they also determine the resources, test environment, test limitations, and the test schedule. So the test plan will be prepared and finalized in the same phase. So next is the test design. This phase involves the creation, verification, and rework of test cases and test scripts after the test plan is ready. So like initially the test data is identified, then created, then it is reviewed and then reworked based on the preconditions given. So then the QA team starts the development process of the test cases for individual units. So next is the environment setup. So in this phase, we have to understand the required architecture, environment setup, and we have to prepare the hardware and software requirement list for the test environment. So this is like a critical aspects of the testing product, and it can be parallelly done with the design phase. But if the development team is already, if they provide the environment, the test team may not be involved in setting up. But if development team has not provided, then the testers will set up an environment. So the test team must do a smoke testing of the given environment to check if the software works in the particular environment. So next is test execution phase. So here the team tests the software which is developed based on the test plan and test cases which we prepared before. So the process consists of test script execution, test script maintenance, and bug reporting. So if bugs are reported, then it is reverted back to the development team for correction, and retesting will be performed again. So next, test closure phase. In this phase, the completion of test execution that involves several activities like test completion report, collection of test completion matrices, and test results will be provided. So it evaluates the completion criteria based on time, test coverage, cost, software based on the software, and quality. So this is about software testing lifecycle. Next, it's API testing. So API is nothing but application programming interface. Like the word application refers to any software, and the word interface is like a service between two applications. So it can be defined as how the two communicate with each other using request and responses. So here is an example of how API works. So the client requests data to the server using an API gateway. So the server fetches the data from the database and responds the client with the data requested. So API testing. So API testing involves testing of APIs directly as a part of integration testing to determine if they meet the expectations for functionality, reliability, performance, and security. So like API doesn't have a graphical user interface. So API testing is done by using some tools like Postman, REST Assured, SOAP UI, API Fortress, API G, etc. So here, one of which is Postman. So it is easily explored, debugged, and testing of APIs is easy in Postman. So we have like four API testing methods in this, which I'll show you further, like get, post, put, delete. These are the API testing methods which we have. Next, I'll be talking about SQL. It's structured query language. It is a relational database management system. So it is free and open source, so anyone can use it. So it's like it is a large number of data is stored in this MySQL database. So next, I'll be showing you how we can do API testing using Postman. So this is the Postman page. So before starting the Postman, before testing the APIs in the Postman, we have to run a jar file. This is the jar file. I copy it. And run the jar file using this command, java-jar filename.jar. So here jar file, it is a package file format. It is typically used to aggregate many Java class files and associated metadata and resources into one file for distribution. So these jar files are like archive files. It's built on the zip format and they have the .jar file extension. So jar file allows Java runtimes to efficiently deploy an entire application. So it is basically used to run the server in the background while testing to connect the database and the API platform. So here you can see the Tomcat is the server. It has started on the port 4728. And this is the SQL database where I have created a schema called GTS Service Platform. And these are the tables for GTS Identity User. These are the users I have created. So in Postman, firstly, we have to generate a token here to give the authorization. So just copy this. And I'll give the key for the main folder. Now I'll create the username has maybe something like A. And the password has Sandhya at 123. So user registered successfully. Next, we can even register through mobile number, where you can give a random number. And you can change the country code as well. Save. One second. Okay, I think there's some problem. I will check back. I'll create it. I'll check and I'll do it. And we can also update email for the users. See, the same which I've created in Postman, the user has created here, aaa@gmail.com. Now I'm gonna update email address for this number, for this user ID 38. So for user ID 38, I'm giving this email ID and it says user email updated successfully. So for user, I don't have any email, but now I have created a email. It's updated. This is how you check, you test in Postman, and you show it. It will reflect in the SQL database. It will be stored in the database. So next, we have Jira software. Jira software, it's that it supports agile project management methodology for software development team. So it is used by a large number of clients and users to manage the project, time, requirements, task, bug, there are any changes, code, testing process, release and sprint. So we create Epic, like a large body of work that can be done will be broken down into a number of smaller stories, and we can raise issues on in Jira. So I'll show you how Jira software works. So these are the epics which I have created. In this, I have created different stories. So in this, I have created different child issues for identity service, and here is the like test cases which we perform in Postman. If I get any bugs here, I will raise the bugs. Here are the bugs which I have raised. So next would be, this is the home page for the UI of GTS service platform. Here we have registration button and login button. So if we click on register, it redirects to registration page where you can enter your email ID and password, and you can select your default role and you can register. And if you have already, if your email is already there, then you can log in, enter the email ID and password and give login, and it redirects to dashboard. Next is about test document. Like here, test document is like a documentation of artifacts that are created before or during the testing of software. So the artifacts here refers to specific methods or process in the software's development. So it helps the testing team to estimate testing effort needed, test coverage, and execution process, etc. So it allows you to describe and document test planning, test design, test execution, test results that are drawn from the test activity. So the testing lifecycle will be in the document format. So next is test scenario. It is an event of software system which could be verified by one or more test cases. So test case is a group of input values, execution preconditions, expected execution and post condition and results. So here I'll show you how the test cases are written. So here, create user with email. It is a test scenario. In this test case, in the test scenario, we have these many test cases. So create user with email, user email exists, user email empty, not valid, password empty, password not valid. So here we give the test data. So it's like a data which exists before a test is executed. So it is used to execute the test cases. So the input we have to give to register using email and password, we need to give the data. The data is email and password you have to give. So the expected result would be user registered successfully. So here I didn't get any error, so it was the same. So the result will be passed. But there is a criteria where your password character limit should be 8, and it should have a capital letter, at least one capital letter, one small letter, special character should be there, and number should be there. And so user, I have a bug which is for user country code invalid, where I have given, if I give like -1 to -9, -1, -2, -3, if I give the country code has -1, -2, the user is created, but the country code is wrong. So the user country code should be invalid. So this I have raised it as a bug. So here in the result, I have put it as failed. So this is how you write the test cases and scenarios. So that's it for that's it. So do you have any questions?
No.
Very good presentation. Very good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Way
so
to go. But as I mentioned, increase the frequency, right? Try to do it on not every day, at least in every alternate days. You don't have to wait for the entire thing to complete and do it, but
Yes, sir.
do it part by part so that you will get feedback early.
Yes, sir.
And as much feedback you get, and try to understand your gaps so that you will be able to fill up those gaps.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes.
Very good. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
So, any other point from anybody you want to bring up?